Well, good morning. I'm Brent Adams here with your Rural Strong Morning Ag Report for this Monday, February 12th, coming to you from Kansas City, home of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. And as you recover from your big game celebrations, leading off the headlines this morning, the USDA is forecasting a fourth year in a row of falling direct government payments to farmers. Here with the details is USDA Radio's Gary Crawford.
Back in 2020, the biggest single source of farmer income was direct government payments, which hit an incredible sum, $45.5 billion. By 2022, government payments dropped to $15.5 billion. Last year, down to $12. And according to USDA's chief economist, Seth Meyer,
direct government payments will contract again in 2024. And that gives you an overall kind of direct government payment intervention total there of below the long run average.
USDA is now projecting government payments to fall this year by about $2 billion to a bit over $10 billion. That would be about a 16% drop from last year, mostly because of lower supplemental and ad hoc disaster assistance expected this year. Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Well, a new report says U.S. agricultural export values and import values both declined in the calendar year 2023. Here again is Gary Crawford.
We now have complete ag trade numbers for calendar year 2023, and during that year,
the overarching theme, I think, has been the easing of inflation, the lowering of unit values.
Unit values, in other words, lower commodity prices, which reversed the growth in U.S. ag product imports and further cut U.S. exports. This from USDA economist Bart Kenner. Here's how the year turned out.
Agricultural exports for calendar year 2023 are $174.9 billion. That's down 11% from the previous year. And agricultural imports are $194.9 billion, down 2%.
That gave us an ag trade deficit of about $20 billion, up from just under $2.5 billion in calendar year 2022. Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Well, one shining star for commodities in 2023 was the U.S. pork industry. Led by a record-shattering performance in Mexico and broad-based growth elsewhere, U.S. pork exports set a value record in 2023. Data shows December pork exports rose 10% from the prior year to 268,400 metric tons, the largest since May 2021 and the eighth largest on record. Export value increased 11% to $766 million, also the highest since May 2021 and the third highest on record. The strong December pushed 2023 export value to a record $8.16 billion, 6% higher than 2022. Export volume reached 2.91 million tons, 8% higher year over year, and the third highest on record. Beef exports closed the year on a higher note, with December totaling 108,497 million tons, down 4% year over year, but the largest level since August. Export value was also the highest since August, climbing 10% over 2022 to $860.8 million. 2023 beef exports hit 1.29 million tons, 12% below 2022 levels. Well, Texas A&M's Ag and Food Policy Chief Joe Outlaw, who advises both parties on the House and Senate Ag committees, predicts a new farm bill won't get done until the summer of 2025. Renowned in his field, Dr. Outlaw says farm bills take months to write, pass, and enact. The shortest he's seen is 9 months, time eaten up this year by political dysfunction and the election calendar. on a Farm Policy Facts Groundwork podcast.
There's a little bit of rumblings that they want to get it done in 24. I don't expect it to be done in 24 unless something wild happens after the election. And even then, if House or Senate flips, it's going to be enough change that I don't think it will happen early in 25 either.
He says that means later in the summer of 2025. Not a good prospect when the American Farm Bureau Federation economists predict in a market intel report on USDA the largest recorded drop in net farm income, down more than 25% from last year. American Farm Bureau Federation President Zippy Duvall is calling on Congress to bring down farming costs and pass a new farm bill. But Managing Director of Government Affairs Ryan Yates tells us,
I think both for the House and the Senate, I think there's a great deal of distance between the chairman and woman and the ranking members that still need to be resolved.
One example is a proposal by Senate Ag Chair Debbie Stabenow to shift more Title I funds to crop insurance and make producers choose between the two.
We don't see one or the other type of an approach. I think that would be a mistake to have to give up one risk management program for another. I think that would be a problem.
Well, Democrats insist they won't give up SNAP or climate dollars for farm programs, and House Ag Democrats just issued a memo saying so. And finally, this morning, more than 370 projects across the United States and territories are funded as part of a USDA program focused on plant, pest, and disease defense. Here with the details is USDA Radio's Rod Bain.
Investments in plant, pest, and disease protection, as announced by Agriculture Undersecretary Jenny Moffitt this week when visiting state agriculture directors and commissioners in Washington, D.C.
We're announcing $70 million for 374 projects in all 50 states.
Plus the District of Columbia, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, and Puerto Rico. Among the gamut of projects and protection methods funded under what is called the Plant Protection Act Section 7721 program.
This is about prevention of plant pests and diseases. This is about trapping. This is about investment in detector dog teams. This is about making sure that we're doing surveillance and we've got the infrastructure in place for pest detection.
Most projects are managed under USDA's Plant Pest and Disease Management and Disaster Prevention Program, while the remainder are supported under the National Clear Plant Network. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Well, you can keep up with the latest from the world of agriculture by subscribing to the Tractors and Troubadours podcast from Rural Strong Media. Each week, we bring you agriculture industry newsmakers, hot-button industry issues, educational features, and the best in traditional country music. The Tractors and Troubadours podcast can be found at ruralstrongmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts. We also invite you to join us daily on Rural Strong Radio, our 24/7 streaming radio station found at ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 streaming radio app for your mobile device. Each day, we bring you our award-winning agriculture programming, as well as the best in traditional country music, mixed in with a little bluegrass, western swing, southern rock, and inspirational music. Again, the place to find Rural Strong Radio is ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 streaming radio app. We're portable, so take us with you everywhere you go while you're working on the farm or ranch. Let's get through the workday together. Well, I'll be back again tomorrow from Kansas City, where I'm participating in board meetings for the National Association of Farm Broadcasting, where I'm the East Region Vice President. We represent nearly 200 farm broadcasters and nearly 900 members, representing radio and television operations, farm equipment manufacturers, farm input companies, trade associations, and more. You can learn about our mission at nafb.com. Until tomorrow, make it a great day, everybody.